So we have to reestablish ourselves. We have to gather our teachings. Where do these teachings come from? Who are we? So when I look back again, it was an old man in Ontario that I met back in 1978. His name was Joe Friday. And when he found out there was an Innu in his community, he wanted to meet me. And so I met with him. And the first words out of his face is that, "You guys gave up the coast." And then he tells me, "We're your people." And I sat back and I said, "What?" He said, "We're your people. A long time ago, we came from where you are, where water is salty in the Far East. We left you guys behind. We're the keepers, we're the holders of your ceremonies and your culture. We've been waiting for your people to come." So for the past 40 years, that's what I've been doing, going back and forth, learning from these people. So when I come home and I bring these lessons back, some people look at me like I'm crazy or whatever. It don't matter to me. I just know that when something fits right for me, and I learned to understand it to be true, then that's the way I'm going to conduct myself. I've seen some pretty incredible things in my life. And when I see the youth today and their quest, it's nice to know that there are other people who are like-minded, that have the same vision, have the same care to bring this information forward. And people ask, "Well, why do you do it?" Well, it's because of that old agreement that the bear talked about to man. And what the bear talked about was the most important lesson, and that's to walk on the earth in a sacred manner. How do we do that? Is it done with ceremony? Yes. But what are the ceremonies? What thanks do you give to the fish that gave up his life? What prayer do you offer? When do you harvest berries? When you harvest corn? When you harvest whatever? What are your prayers to acknowledge that life that you took? That's the lesson that we have to pass on. When I talk, sometimes we get into discussion about global warming. And when I see what's actually happening and how industry and government fail to acknowledge, except for the country of Brazil, that the earth is alive like you and me. As the Creator said in that agreement, man can use the plants, use the animals, use the fish, use the birds, use the medicines. Creator didn't say abuse or exploit. Use in a good way. What's gotten us into so much trouble? Greed. Simple as that. Greed. There's no other explanation for it. I say they got global warming backwards. The Earth Mother, they keep taking her blood out. And like humans, we are made the same way the Earth is. Every molecule in your body, every part of your chromosomes that make you up as to being a human being, you will find on the Earth. Your body is designed the same way as the Earth. 75% fluid. So when they keep taking these fluids out of the Earth, like your body, you're going to go into a fever. So the oil that's in the Earth keeps it cool. And because it's superheating inside because of the lack of oil, this is what I believe anyway, it's warming up and it's causing the ice caps to melt from the bottom up. The CO2 emissions and carbon monoxide are not helping matters. So I asked a question. If after what we do here is a great problem for us right now, how much of a greater problem is it for our children and our grandchildren? Like I said earlier, these are the ones who are going to pick the home you're going in. Teach them wisely. So when we do our ceremonies, the brother and I and whoever else comes up with us, we teach the youth responsibility right from the get-go. Because now they have to erect a couple of teepees. They have to learn about that. They have to learn about being comfortable in the teepee, what's involved. So they got to get their boughs to make their bedding. But there's a whole, procedure that has to be followed, a whole set of protocols. Do you offer tobacco? Do you offer your prayers to that tree for giving off its branch so that you could be comfortable? Your wood. The tree gave up his life so that we could have fire. The grandfathers that sit around that fire, do we acknowledge them? Those are the teachings that we pass on. Do they know the sacredness of fire? This is where man came from. It's from fire. It's the oldest of the 4 sacred elements. There's earth, wind, fire, and water. And if you take one out of the equation, the other 3 will perish. Those are important lessons. So, when we get to the fire, do they know what it means to light that fire? We teach them that so that they understand it and respect it for what it is. Do they talk to the fire? You have to talk to it. You have to acknowledge it because it's spirit. Everything we do is done deliberately with lessons with honor and respect.